the Ron and Brian Podcast. Get ready to fill your ears with the latest news, politics, current events, and whatever else we feel like talking about this week. And now, your hosts, Ron and Brian.
And good evening, everybody. It's Sunday night, the Lord's Day, as some people might say. It is 8 o'clock on the Eastern Seaboard, as some people might say. And it is time, as we would say, for episode 307 of the Ron and Brian Podcast. Brian, so good to lay my eyes on you yet again. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, Ron. I had a splendid weekend, an amazing trip down to Philadelphia to visit my Philly family, if you would. Got to spend some quality time with you and the missus. It was the Jardis were out in force. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I find myself back in my ivory tower here in West New York, just staring out at the Hudson and the boats as they come here and there. Just a lovely, it's still spring, right? Or are we officially in summer?
Well, I think, some people may say we are in spring, but we are most definitely in hot podcaster summer.
Hot podcaster summer.
But I guess technically summer does not begin for a couple more weeks.
Then we are doing wonderful in West New York. Ron, if I may ask, how are you doing?
You may. Listen, it is a great end to the weekend. Fun times were had by all. Beautiful weather, beautiful friends, beautiful times, all for a good cause, which, again, like you mentioned, we'll talk about soon enough. But let's get into the show, as we always do, with Drink of the Week.
Drink of the Week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud. Drink of the Week.
Drink of the week, drink of the week, drink of the week, drink of the week.
Brian, what are you drinking this week?
Ooh, this week, Ron, this week we are traveling all the way to New York State, the great state of New York, and we are drinking Bira 91. This is their blonde lager. You're going to say, tell me a little bit about Bira 91. Don't really know, but their blonde lager I do know all about. And this blonde, Ron, is crisp and it's refreshing. I'm going to hold it up. Motherfucker. Ron, what are you drinking?
We'll get back to Brian's drink after he cleans up there. So, Brian, as we mentioned, you were down here in Philadelphia. We went to a fundraiser for Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. So, in tribute to that, I grabbed some Tito's vodka. Tito's, one of the sponsors of the event, threw a shot of Tito's vodka, some fresh lemon juice, and then some lemon La Croix to top it off. So, a nice lemon Tito's here. Let's take a sip. That's tart. Wow, that lemon juice may have gone a little bit heavy, but still very crisp, very refreshing, very cold. This would be a great drink to have out as we relax poolside during this hot podcaster summer.
Hot podcaster summer.
Yes, me with the bougie seltzer. I'm not quite sure how I ended up with a can of La Croix in my fridge. But I had to add the lemon juice because Lord knows La Croix does not have really any flavor to it. Billy, you are correct. We do attend the Great Chefs event for Alex's Lemonade Stand annually. So this was Brian's second time appearing. Brian, how are you doing over there? Have you cleaned up enough that you can you can talk about your drink? Yes, Janelle, Brian did not dance for Drink of the Week, and maybe this is karma kind of getting back at him. So, Brian, what are you drinking this week?
This blonde, Ron, it's crisp and it's refreshing. It's the perfect thirst quencher. This beer is meant to put you in a summer state of mind, no matter the season. This no nonsense beer this beer gives noble hops and Germany feelings while it provides you with a refreshing piney aroma and a medium. I'm not even going to pretend to read it. This is Blonde 91 Lager. I'm going to take a sip. I hope it's crushable.
I hope so too. I hope it's cleanable. More importantly.
Oh no, that was a shot of Crown Royal that just went flying across this table.
Oh,
Damn it. So that's going to be sticky too. That's the worst part. I'm going to get reamed on that one. It's not bad. It's not a great beer. I'm not going to lie.
you taking another sip just to make sure?
Yeah, there's a bitterness to there that I would not have hoped for from a blonde lager. There's usually like a little sweetness to my my lager. This one kind of stinks. Giving this one thumbs down to Bira 91 Blonde Lager.
How many of those do you have now? Because I know you mentioned you were going out to buy some beers. On your
Only
way
bought
home,
two.
too.
Only
All
bought
right.
two. I will have the second one a little bit later on. Fuck.
And you're going to have to
All right, keep
report
going.
yourself. You're going to have to report yourself your Crown Royal.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I don't show up to work tomorrow morning, it's because I've been chopped into 100 pieces and dumped into the Hudson. Pray for me, Ron. Pray for
Some
me.
prayers. All right. Well, let's just keep it moving then while you are still alive. It's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
I mean, my inability not to drop drinks on the floor. Could that be it?
Possibly, very possibly.
Okay. Here we go. My beef of the week. People that leave placeholders in line so that they don't actually have to wait in line themselves. And I will tell you exactly what it is I'm talking about. Trying to get a photo up here, but but heaven forbid I actually figure out how to use this internet. I'm going to try one last time. I put it in a Google slide earlier today. It's right there right now. Give me one more chance. I'm going to try and add it. Of course, it's not there. Where are we going to go? Give me one more shot. So the whole idea is this. Earlier today, the lady and I were walked over to lovely, what's the station over on 30th Street down in Philly?
That would be the 30th Street station.
There you go. So, you know how Amtrak, normally they announce the train track arrivals, usually about 15 minutes before the actual departure time. Here, we were on a 1:30 train, got to the train station probably about 1:45, and they had already announced, what am I? Look at that. The Philly accent is already coming off on me. But they had already announced exactly that the train we were taking was going to be on track 9. So the lady and I sat down, relaxed for a little bit. And then we saw a line really starting to form. It was about 5-6 people already there. We're like, you know what? Let's go get online. So as we're approaching, we suddenly see that what appeared to be 4 or 5 people online really was significantly more, as this should be banned. This behavior should be banned. So you can see this couple standing here, the gentleman in the white T-shirt with a backpack, standing next to his a lady friend of his. I don't want to assume relationship status. But then what you're looking at here is people have placed their luggage on the floor while they went and sat nearby. Now, this young lady sitting on the bench in the shorts, you can see her sitting with her legs across. I don't know that this is what she was doing. I am not looking to point fingers at her. It's the people who placed their luggage and then walked away, came back as as we were starting to get ready to board, picked up their bags and just took their place in line. These are people that walked over to other benches to sit down. This is abhorrent human behavior. Your luggage does not replace you waiting in line. If we lived in a just society, I should be allowed to take this luggage and chuck it as far as I could throw it. But we don't live in that world. This is my beef of the week, Ron.
I mean, I will tell you, when we went out for breakfast this morning, you met us and the Jardis over at Green Eggs Cafe. They would not even seat us until the two of you arrived, because we said, we've got
Understood.
a table of 6. And they were like, well, you got to wait till the other 2 people are here. That is how a proper society works, Brian. And these people, I'm torn because, I mean, they kind of held their place, but I mean, if you got to stand for 5-10 minutes, it's not that much. Billy brings up a good point. You probably would have broken your shoulder if you tried to throw the luggage. I mean, I would have to say you dislocate it at a bare minimum.
Yeah, I would hurt. It would hurt. But okay, what if I just kicked it? What if I just nudged it out of? How about I just nudged it out of space? Just like nudged it off the line. But like, to me, the whole idea of waiting in line is that you are waiting in line, not
Right.
you are sitting there and just this really pissed me off to no end. Didn't really bother my lady much. She just looked and she was like, stand in line. This really bothered me. That it's upsetting. It really is upsetting to me. Ron,
Because you understand the value of the social contract, Brian, and not many people do these days. It's unfortunate.
society has rules. Society, we all have to live by them.
Let's see here. Allie commenting, I would see this and assume that the person or persons couldn't stand for, quote, just 5 to 10 minutes. Of course, we know Brian would not consider someone's disabilities. But I would think if you have a disability, Amtrak will make accommodations for that.
100%.
You can take the elevator down at 30th Street Station. Were these people disabled in some way, shape, or form when they came back in line?
Not at all. Not at all. And the other thing is that I don't want to live in a world where we automatically assume that everybody is disabled. Why can't we just live in a world where we have rules and that we make exclusions for people who have disabilities and we allow them to be able to get on trains in other ways, like elevators? Jeez.
I mean, how do we know these people weren't handy capable is another way to look at it. Oh, are you dropping more shit over there? What is happening? What is happening in West New York?
Do you ever have like condensation form on the bottom of a coaster and then it just kind of like sticks? That's what's happening here.
Understood.
Just fuck it up. Ron, what's bothering you?
Well, I was going, my beef of the week, it was going to be people who make light of childhood illnesses at events to support said childhood illness. But I felt like I shouldn't allow those type of individuals that kind of bandwidth on the show or in my life. So
hold on a second. Hold on. What was that line again? Repeat yourself.
That? Which part?
The part where what your beef should have been.
My beef should have been people who make fun of children with illnesses at events to raise money for those childhood illnesses.
You show me one person that does that, and I'm going to introduce them to 2 knuckle sandwiches,
2-piece and a biscuit. But instead, Brian, I have an issue with the damn deer in my neighborhood. We had some flowers planted out front the other week when we were having some landscaping done. Came home today, gone, absolutely gone. Fuckers ate them right down to the roots. Bad enough that these deer have decided to make our home their home, but now they're also they're eating our beautiful flowers on top of it.
Oh,
very disruptive.
Now, at any point, did you think to get your shotgun out and start shooting?
I feel a shotgun would be ill-advised. Plus, we're not technically allowed to set off a firearm within 150 feet of another house.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. What is that because you live in a neoliberal tyrannical society?
It's actually
you can do on your land. I'm sorry, you own that land. That's not a co-op, correct?
I do own the land, but it's pretty much state law in Pennsylvania. That whole firearms, you just can't randomly shoot guns in your backyard. And I see a lot of people saying that the deer were here first. I don't think so, because I see baby deer out there. I've been living here 8 years. These deer are not 8 years old. Mm-hmm. Explain that, liberals. I don't think you can.
What about?
Well, this is 100% the case, and we did. I mean, I guess my secondary beef is with our landscaper, who we said, hey, when you plant flowers, just make sure they're flowers that deer don't like, because we used to have tulips out there. We used to have other stuff. Deer eat all that stuff.
So you're not like happy to some degree that you are providing these deer who are hunted in other areas of the nation with some type of safety and sustenance that will keep them going?
It's mixed feelings, Brian. It's extremely mixed feelings. Now we have foxes too. The foxes are becoming more domesticated around here. I had a fox trailing me the other day. Yeah. And
trailing you?
My wife would love nothing more than to be able to adopt a fox and bring it indoors. She sees that on TikTok now, people that have fox living in their homes. And that is apart from rescuing kittens outdoors, if she could rescue a fox, that would be right in her wheelhouse.
I don't know. What is the are they domesticatable? Or are they still pretty much wild animals?
I don't know. I was reading an article the other day that the animal researchers are finding that fox may be trying to become domesticated because it's tough living outside.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how but the homeless people that stay in the 30th Street station, they don't want homes. They're choosing to stay out there on the streets.
Listen, and I specifically remember hearing you tell a woman today that you had no change.
And yet I did. I had change of a 50. I had change of a 20. Change of a 10. Change of a 5.
I was kind of shocked. I figured you were going to ask her if she had Venmo or Cash App. I figured you wouldn't just be like, sorry, can't help.
I have so perfected the sorry, pal, can't help. That's it. And then just keep walking. Don't even slow down. Don't even slow down. Just keep walking.
All right. Should we get to our stories of the week, Brian?
Let's go before I knock over another drink.
So as everybody who listens to the podcast know, we do grab some stories that we like to make sure we don't miss out on from week to week. Brian, who is your story about this week?
Okay. Normally, you know me, I am all about the NFL. I love supporting the players and, all they do for us. However, this week, a shocking story coming out of the NFL. I believe former Miami Dolphins player Xavier Howard is his name. And he has he's fighting for his life in a courthouse because he has recently been sued for allegedly sharing explicit photos and videos of women, even texting the sexual images of one of the victims to her son because she refused to get an abortion. The two victims who are identified in court paper as Jane and John Doe, or the two victims, Jane and John Doe, that would be the mother-son duo. They filed a lawsuit in Broward County, that is Fort Lauderdale area, also Hallandale Beach, Hollywood. Filed the paperwork saying that he released explicit content to, quote, humiliate them and cause emotional distress. According to the report, Howard started seeing Jane Doe in 2016 and began an exclusive relationship with her in 2022, but ended their involvement in July of 2022, just mere months afterwards. Upon ending their relationship, Jane Doe received an Instagram message from a third-party female claiming she had several sexually explicit videos that Howard allegedly sent of him having sex with various women. Apparently, this is what he does. He makes videos of him having sex with women and then shares it with others, including, the family members, which is just shocking to me. So
Yeah,
he is,
four.
he is. I think once again, this is just something that if we can put this into the the more you know category. Listen, if you are in a sexual relationship with someone and they are pressuring you to make content, to film yourself performing sex acts or participating in them, it's okay to say no because this stuff lasts forever. There is the iCloud, there's Google Storage, Google Drive. Videos are uploaded. It is you don't control where those videos go afterwards, especially after these relationships fail. By the way, this is slander, and I will be taking Mr. Saletti to court.
I mean, it's the incorrect. Have you? I think you mentioned last week that you have sent him pictures of your penis.
Oh, yeah, but see, this is where it's incorrect. See where he uses the phrase unwanted?
Does anyone really want
the lie.
that?
That's the lie. He does. He wants it. He keeps saying more. Send me more.
All right, fair enough.
Ron, what's your story of the week?
So my story this week, quite the story. One of those ones that you're not 100% sure if it's real or not, but if it's on the New York Post, you have to imagine that it's real. And this is about a reclusive tribe in the Amazon who finally got connected to the internet thanks to Elon Musk, only to be torn apart by social media and pornography addiction. This is a photo of Brazil's 2,000 member Marubo tribe. Has apparently been left bitterly divided by the arrival of the Starlink service 9 months ago, which connected the remote rainforest community along the Itui River to the web for the first time. One of the tribal members said, quote, "When it arrived, everyone was happy, but now things have gotten worse. Young people have gotten lazy because of the internet. They're learning the ways of the white people." The Marubo are a chaste tribe, even frowning upon kissing in person. But apparently, many young Marubo men have now been sharing porn videos in group chats and they've started to observe more aggressive sexual behavior in some of them. Another person said, "Everyone is so connected that sometimes they don't even talk to their own family."
Can you really? This is what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
Obviously, the fact that it's taking its toll on the social dynamics of the tribe, yes. However, if you were handed a device suddenly that had instant access to the internet, how long would it be before you started looking at pornography, Ron?
I mean, I think I would maybe a week. Once I got through Wikipedia. Maybe playing some Wordle, maybe going down some conspiracy theory rabbit holes. Then I'd probably hit the porn.
Yeah, it's inevitable. It is inevitable. There's not much we can do as a society. People love pornography. It's just what they do.
So now, apparently, tribal leaders are limiting access to the internet for 2 hours each morning, 5 hours each evening, and all day on Sunday. Another father of young children in the tribe said he's anxious about his children playing violent first-person shooter games. This is the part I don't get, which is why I kind of don't believe it. All they did was bring like the Starlink hookup, and it was there primarily so that the tribe could have connection to the outside world for medical emergencies and things of that nature. Where are all these tribal people getting like computers and cell phones now to hook up to the internet?
Well, I imagine that they were donated by I read the article and I don't know why, maybe I assumed wrongly, but I assumed that this was part of the Starlink service, was that they were donating that they were also donating devices. I mean, what's the point of Starlink technology if you're not also giving people like the devices to access it?
But I guess they gave them so many devices that the entire village is now addicted to the internet within a few months.
Well, it wasn't the entire village so much as most of it was the young men that were. According to the article I read. Now, keep in mind, I read that on a pornography website who were bragging about it. So maybe I got it wrong.
Listen, I'm just saying, I don't want to infer that the New York Post may not be truthful. It just seems, I don't know, just seems a little weird. And also, we have a follow-up of one of our stories of the week last week. We were talking about Corey Harris, the Michigan man who appeared in a virtual court case about him having a suspended license while he was driving to a doctor's appointment. And at the time, it seemed like maybe he was the victim of a clerical error because apparently he had a suspended license. That suspended license was supposedly returned to him in 2022, and there was an issue with the court filing, which is why it was never given back. However, the case took another turn this week when the judge overseeing the case, J. Cedric Simpson, announced that Corey Harris has never had a Michigan driver's license ever. He has never had a license in any of the other 49 states either. So Mr. Harris had to return to court this week. Apparently, all Mr. Harris had was a Michigan ID, which is your alternative identification card when you don't get a license. Apparently, also, Michigan is one of the few states in the country where you can get you can get license violations on your record, even if you don't have a driver's license.
How? If you don't have a driver's
apparently it goes on your record, and then if you ever do get a driver's license, they would be applied to your license at that point.
Oh, ooh, that sucks.
Yes.
Okay.
So he has since paid his reinstatement fee. He has an upcoming appointment with the Secretary of State's office to get his learner's permit and ultimately his license.
Okay.
Apparently,
I assume he's going to have a lot of points already.
He also had a bench warrant from 9 years ago that he has to get cleared up to.
That's unfortunate.
So his next court appearance is scheduled for August 7th. So hopefully he gets it all straightened out. I mean, we've all been in trouble with the law a time or two, haven't we?
I don't think I've ever been in trouble with the law.
Really? You didn't just get stopped by officers on the light rail for not having a valid ticket?
Yeah, but that's not like trouble with the law. That's just, getting it, you see that as trouble with the law. Really?
I think it speaks to your character.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, here. Understatement of the day.
Is there a story behind that?
Oh, that's an after dark. Only if he comes on.
All right, fair enough. Do we want to talk about the weekend, Brian? Our attendance at the Great Chefs event for Alex's Lemonade Stand yet again this year.
I think it is a great charity event hosted, put on into the greater Philadelphia area. Ron, you are the driving cause in my attendance to it. Walk the people through. What did we get to experience this week?
So for those who may not be aware, Alex's Lemonade Stand raises money to fight childhood cancer. And every June, down at the Urban Outfitters offices in the Navy Yard here in Philly, they hold a Great Chefs event where, just like the name says, they get great chefs from around the country to come in. And there is samples of food, desserts, there were breweries, distilleries, wineries, music, auctions, the whole 9 yards. Ton of great food again this year. All of us met down in Center City, Philadelphia, checked into our hotels, and then headed down to the Navy Yard to yet another great event. Again, just some amazing food. What were some of your favorite dishes of the day, Brian?
There was a 45-day dry aged burger that was just delicious. There was Nobu from New York came down there,
That's right.
and they had some kind of it was tuna strips with a pasta and just a delicious dressing. It was almost like a garlicky oil, just utterly delicious, cold. And what were some of the other things? Then what was the chocolate dessert that you put us on to? I thought
The chocolate budino with whipped rum
Budino.
and crisp chocolate pieces. Don't forget the swordfish shoulder sliders with the spices and the hot sauce on them also.
That was delicious. That was utterly delicious. I think I had like 3 of those. Lots of hot sauce.
We drank a lot of Ritas, blood orange Ritas. Some drinks they were mixing up, had quite a few beers. And then because the beer companies didn't want to bring beer back with them, they just started handing us 6-packs on the way out, which we thought was a good idea. But then we realized we were going to have to carry them around the rest of the day.
It was not a good idea. Not a good idea. And then we abandoned them.
Then we abandoned them, went over to Maury's Pier on Penn's Landing, walked down to the Spruce Street Harbor Park, and then, which I think was a genius way to end the evening, walked over to South Street to Jim Steaks, which is just recently reopened after a fire they had in the building about a year and a half ago, and grabbed ourselves some cheesesteaks. How was your cheesesteak, Brian? It had been a while since you've had an original Philly cheesesteak.
It was delicious. I got mine with cheese whiz, onions, mushrooms. It was perfect because it was not too much. I ate the whole thing. Everybody else in our group split one. I ate the whole thing because I have self-control issues.
Sure. Yeah, I got the pepper steak, so it's sweet peppers, and then I got the whiz and onions on there. Just great. Although I will say, Bidenomics at its work again. I remember when you could get a pepper steak for $9. It was $15 last night, Brian.
Ooh. Yeah, that is quite expensive. Now that you mention it.
But delicious.
The price has gone up. But isn't that true about everything?
It is. It's the world we live in these days.
Such a shame. Just a shame.
And then we called it a night. We grabbed some breakfast at Green Eggs Cafe, which again, if you're looking for a fantastic brunch in Philadelphia, go to Green Eggs Cafe. You had the kitchen skillet, which had literally had everything in it.
So good.
And
I was looking for savory. Yeah, I wanted savory. It was it had scrambled eggs with crumbled sausage in it. It had pieces of onion, pepper, potatoes. Then it had melted cheese on top with a biscuit and southern gravy. Delish.
So good.
Delish. So good.
What did you have? Mary, you had too. I had the fried chicken and waffles Benedict. So it was fried chicken on a buttermilk waffle with poached egg covered in hollandaise sauce, maple syrup, and hot sauce. Delish. Yeah, it was very good, very tasty. So I assume you will be back down again next year. You should you pre-block your attendance second Saturday.
Let us know when it is going to be, and consider the lady and I will be in attendance. The real question is just what hotel are we allowed to stay in?
We'll see. We'll see. What's available and how close we want you to the rest of us. And we also, don't forget, we won a ping pong party at Spin Philadelphia in the private silent auction. So we'll be planning that get together as well.
There you go. That's going to be fun.
That's gonna be a good time. I think we'll do it for my wife's birthday. I think is the word on the street. So I assume you already have that date blocked off in your calendar as well.
Of course.
Let's see what else do we got, Brian. What stories do you want to talk about? We have so much
Um,
going on this past week.
Jesus, I mean, do we even have time for stories? The story that I got a kind of a kick out of in terms of just the right has just gone so far in the lunacy is that two Texas professors from a school, they are from the University of Texas at Austin, have filed a legal complaint with the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, seeking the right to punish students and prospective teaching assistants for having abortions. Basically, they put forth that pregnancy is not a disease and elective abortions are not health care. So, therefore, they wanted to say that the pregnancy is the result of voluntary and consensual sexual intercourse, although we all know it is not always, and
Correct.
that what they want to be able to do is to flunk students and teaching assistants who miss class as a result of seeking abortions, and they want to get a legal judgment as to whether they will be allowed to do this or not. It's gone too far.
It almost feels like the cruelty is more the point than anything else.
Yeah, it's just it leaves you with a really just unhappy just concept of where of how, you know, in so many cases we are opening ourselves to other people. We are bettering, you know, who we are as a humanity, and then there's this segment of society that is just pulling us backwards, pulling us down, and it seems they have control of the courts.
In a lot of places, that is correct, especially Texas. I mean, Texas is a place that does seem to appreciate taking rights away from women.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of their thing.
Also, in my neck of the woods, Brian, over in Darby, Pennsylvania, there was a crossing guard who has been accused of giving e-cigarettes and marijuana to middle school students. This is the mugshot of Kiera Lee. She was taken into custody on Tuesday night. Some Penwood Middle School students allegedly report that she would smoke marijuana with the kids. Police say she was also contacting at least one student via text. In those messages, police say the student and Lee would talk about ingesting marijuana edibles and share their experiences. Charges against Lee include possession of marijuana with intent to deliver and corruption of minors. Anyone concerned about their child's interactions with Lee are asked to contact the Darby Borough Police Department.
Unacceptable.
And quite the unfortunate mugshot. I feel bad.
This is a terrible mugshot. When you say unfortunate mugshot, like, can we just walk through what's going on here? Now, is that 5 o'clock shadow?
I mean, I don't know if it's just bad lighting, if it's a foundation situation, or potentially a 5 o'clock shadow.
It looks to me like a 5 o'clock shadow, and she looks unhappy knowing that this is going to be her photo.
Could be vitiligo. Could be like Michael Jackson, a little vitiligo going on. But we won't.
Do you actually believe? You believe that he had vitiligo?
I don't know. I mean, it's all very possible. Or maybe he just liked bleaching himself. I don't know, Brian. I don't have all the. What else do we have here? We have a trooper in New Jersey who was kicked off the force due to would you call it an unfortunate neck tattoo, Brian?
I'm going to say it's a bad one. It's a bad neck tattoo. Unfortunate, I don't know that that's the word to choose from. I would say that considering the line of work that this man went into, that this is not the kind of tattoo you should be getting, period.
All right. Well, this is former New Jersey State Trooper Jason Dare. He had a giant neck tattoo, which you can see there, having the words "Blood Honor," which apparently is a well-known Hitler youth slogan. He was fired by the department last year following an investigation into the tattoo and his other white supremacist link tattoos. He was let go on November 27th after nearly 2 decades on the job. His body art was only flagged by the department after New Jersey State Police put out a public missing persons report for the trooper back in March of 2023 when he left a Pennsylvania medical facility and disappeared. The detective, who was described as missing and endangered in the alert, was found safe days later, but it wasn't his disappearance that was noticed by the public, but the massive "Blood Honor" text written across the bottom of his neck. Internet sleuths later found his Facebook page that revealed that he had other troublesome tattoos, including iron crosses on his wrists and a pit bull illustration matching the logo of a Pennsylvania-based white supremacist group, the Keystone State Skinheads. He also shared posts on Facebook alluding to white supremacist and neo-Nazi groups. The New Jersey Attorney General's Office of Public Integrity and Accountability launched an internal investigation following the complaints about his tattoos. The probe found that he had violated law enforcement policies on conflicts of interest through his, quote, visible tattoos associated with groups espousing racial ideology. There you go.
I just feel like this guy should not be a police officer.
Well, and thankfully he no longer is. But you know, Ali makes a point. 2 decades, you know, that kind of. I have to imagine someone had to notice these tattoos previously and did nothing about it. It was only after the public noticed it that somebody decided to say, maybe this should be a problem.
But it does seem like he was making sure that it didn't go above a certain amount. Like, to me, I'm thinking that when he was in uniform wearing a collared shirt, it probably went above that tattoo line.
But if he's got iron crosses on his wrists, I'm going to say that you know, probably stands out a little bit.
You know, some people like to wear long sleeve shirts when they're on the job.
But he looks like the kind of guy that like probably works out, does a lot of arm workouts, probably wears the tight, you know.
So are we saying that in health fitness clubs and gyms, you know, we should be snitching on the type of artwork of the people? Yeah, exactly. That's right, Joe. My preferred neckline. High and tight up tight. So are we saying that people in gyms, if they see a racist tattoo, they should be you know, snitching on their fellow workout partners?
I'm just saying in general, if you see something, say something.
Wow. Okay.
See something, say something. Keeping with the police motif, a Mississippi state trooper was fired for sending a sex video she filmed with another woman to other officers. This is Trooper Ivana Williams, fired back in February amid accusations that she sent racy photos of herself to several senior officers, visited porn sites on her state-issued phone, and sending colleagues an alleged sex video filmed with another woman who has since filed a civil lawsuit against her.
Another story this week. People, if you're going to have sex, put the phones away. I mean, I know we're all addicted to our phones, but no good comes out of bringing the phones into the bedroom. You know, that's where you can have your physical activity, but there's no need to record it. No good comes out of it.
The unnamed victim wrote in a complaint, quote, "At this point, I have no idea the exact number of people who have this video. Based on what I've been told, a lot of our law enforcement community have it. MHP heads and officers are sharing it. In addition, Master Sergeant Julius Hudson and Master Sergeant Jeremy Lott were also later fired for their involvement for allegedly requesting nudes from Williams, violating the department code of conduct."
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. So both men claim into the appeals that they've both appealed to the state. Even though Hudson admitted to investigators with the state that he was, quote, 90% sure that he was Williams' supervisor, but asked for the lewd photos anyway. But both claim in appeals to the state that they received the photos while off duty. So no harm, no foul if you weren't on the clock. And they have requested that the state reverse their terminations.
What are
Do
your
we think
thoughts
they're
on
going to
that
get
one?
hired again? I mean,
Yes.
I don't think it matters, but I have a
No, they're
feeling that
definitely.
they'll get hired back.
They will absolutely get hired back, probably in a smaller town. Like they are going to take some time off. Then they're going to go to some small town in Georgia or Alabama, maybe North Dakota, Wyoming, Arizona, and they'll get hired. And they won't care.
Will they get back pay is the question.
They'll be getting back shots, if you ask me.
Sorry, my pen ran out of ink. I can't do anything if I can't write, Brian.
Okay, your pen ran out of ink, but did you not knock your shot glass over?
I did not. I try not to make a mess around my equipment. That's just the pride I bring to the job.
Yeah, this is not good. Not good. By the way, Dodgers are winning 3-2, middle of the sixth.
Dodgers, yes, up 3-2. Not only that, Yankees pull Luis Gil 1K short of what we need for our parlay. So another losing parlay for us today.
Well, I bet Yankees and over 6.5. So if I can get the Dodgers to stop scoring and the Yankees to score 2 more before the game's over, I will win my bet.
All right.
Will it happen?
Speaking of someone, yeah, go ahead. Will it happen?
I said, will it happen? Unlikely. By the way, it's Luis Heel. The G is pronounced like an H. It is pronounced H-E-E-L, not Gil, like G-I-L. Please stop. See, this is one of the things you do that really annoys the daylights out of me, is the fact that you Americanize the pronunciation of names of people who are from other cultures where they pronounce the letters differently than you do. And you just see a last name like G-I-L and go Gil, or here you go, exactly, Tortillas. And you just sit there and it shows a lack of appreciation for other cultures. This is what you get when you go outside of major metropolitan areas. You go into the suburbs where the streets are predominantly white Anglo-Saxon, and it upsets me. And Ron, it needs to stop now.
All right, good to know. I'll do my best. Up next, speaking of betting, we have a story about Tuco Salamanca. Sorry, that was a character from Breaking Bad. This is actually former Pittsburgh Pirates player Tucapito Marcano. Am I getting that right, Brian?
Well done.
Tucapito. So he was banned from Major League Baseball for life. He was with the Pirates at one point, but he was at the time at the Padres. He was an infielder. So he was betting on Pirate games while assigned to their Major League club last year. But this hurts a bit. He did not win any of the 25 bets he placed on Pittsburgh and barely won any of his 231 Major League Baseball related bets. According to a release from Major League Baseball, quote, consistent with Marcano's overall baseball betting activity, almost all of Marcano's Pirates bets were on which club the Pirates or their opponent would win the game and whether there would be more or less than a certain number of runs scored in the game. Ultimately, Marcano lost all of his parlays involving the Pirates and only won 4.3% of all of his Major League Baseball related bets overall.
That's stunningly bad. Like if you flipped a coin, you would be correct 50% of the time, statistically.
Right.
Over time, so, the bell curve would get closer and closer. Your standard deviation would eventually reach 0, as you would approach 50%, and that he only was correct 4% of the time. I don't know how you get that bad. I mean,
So
your numbers are approaching that.
I'm not even that bad, and I've had a rough run. But he was Marcano was found to have placed 387 baseball bets, some of which were international games. He bet more than $150,000 on baseball, which included $87,319 on MLB related bets. So clearly, he had to lose almost $150,000 if he only hit 4% of the time. He did not appear in any of the Pirates games that he bet on, as all of those bets came after his season-ending ACL injury suffered last July. Initially, he had signed with the Padres as an international free agent in 2016 at the age of 16. This is the part I don't get. I mean, I get the gambling part. But if you are lucky enough to make it to Major League Baseball, to make it to the show, as they call it,
Sure.
and this kid was only 24 years old, easily could have had another 10, 15 years in the league. And now he's out of a career because he decided, look at all the different sports you can bet on. We bet on what? What do we bet? We bet cricket this weekend. We've bet darts. We've bet WNBA, which I'm still not 100% convinced is a sport. We've bet table tennis. We have bet, what else did we bet on, Brian? We bet highlight. Good Lord. Remember when we bet highlight?
We bet highlight, but hold your horses, because you know what's starting in a week from now is professional lacrosse.
Oh, yeah.
Professional lacrosse is starting. And you know which team is favored to win the entire league? The New York Atlas. I don't know where they play. Hold on. I'm going to look that up.
I know Philadelphia has a professional lacrosse team too, so we'll have to see how that is. But point being is, if you want to gamble, there are plenty of sports out there that you could gamble on, other than the one that you are currently playing. And to bet on the team that you are on is a extremely ballsy way to go.
But first off, he should never be betting on Pittsburgh. They have been a terrible team for years. He would have been better off betting against them. But it is still, even if you are a professional baseball player, it is still very frowned upon to be betting on your any type of sports. Right. Even if you're betting on college basketball, if you're a baseball player gambling, they will. I'm not saying that they're going to ban you for life, but you will definitely get suspended for a certain period of time. I mean, look at Shohei Ohtani. That guy lost millions gambling, and he's on ESPN right now going up against the Yankees.
I mean, I will say the irony of it all is that, Major League Baseball, along with other sports leagues, certainly have no issue taking money from the sports gambling websites for commercials, sponsorships, things of that nature. But yeah, who was the guy that just got banned from the NBA because he was betting on, or I don't know if he was betting on the under, but there was definitely a bunch of people that were betting the under on a lot of his statistics, and then he would take himself out of a game.
He was letting people know when he was going to be out. That was Jontay Porter, Jontay. I may not have pronounced it correct. I want to respect his culture, so I will be pronouncing it Jontay Porter. He was caught texting I believe it was in a Discord or to a Telegram group that advising his friends, hey, I'm going to be sick later on today. Bet the under on my numbers. And they put, like huge amounts of money, a couple $100,000 on him, to go under 20 points or whatever. And he walked out of the game after scoring 2. And he was literally banned within a week. You just can't do it.
That part I can understand. Where if you're impacting the results of the game, that feels illegal to me. But again,
agreed.
if you're betting on a team and you're not playing, like you would think he would have had the idea as to how good or bad the Pirates are, but apparently not at all. Missed all 25 bets.
just incredible bad luck. I mean, just stupid gambling. Stupid.
We have us going down to Orlando, Florida. We've got the
Flirter.
story of a Orlando hotel near Disney World that was took some backlash on social media this past week because they had a apparently a bondage rabbit or of some sort outside their apartment or outside their hotel, excuse me. You can kind of see it in this photo here. An
It looks
inflatable
like a
rabbit
rabbit.
in
Yeah.
bondage gear. They also apparently had a hot pink bear wearing fetish clothing. This was outside of the Crown Plaza Orlando Lake Buena Vista Hotel. The Twitter account Libs of TikTok tweeted, Crown Plaza, why are you subjecting young children to looking at a bondage teddy bear? Disgusting. We called the hotel and they told us it was for a private pride event, that the bear will remain up throughout the entire weekend. Apparently, the company said that a client that is hosting the event over the weekend had a full buyout of the hotel and brought the outdoor decorations for display.
All right.
Apparently, after complaints, the decorations were moved inside. But then the black and white bear showed up in the pool area.
Listen, Ron, as a hotel executive, where do you draw the line in terms of group bookings? Like, if a group sets forward and goes, "Hey, listen, we are a bondage loving group. We want to, rent out a block of rooms in your hotel. We're thinking, I don't know, maybe 50, 75. A bunch of our friends are going to be coming down. We have our own inflatable rabbit, really adorable, black and white, ball gag, whatnot." At what point do you sit there and realize that their money, their blood money, is not worth it?
Well, I don't know that I would refer to it as blood money.
You would
think
accept it. You would, regardless of the fact that the families that are there on vacation, the trips, the children that are there, you're going to sit there and be like, "No, we want your money. Our hotel wants it."
Well, I think number one, what's important to note about the Crown Plaza is apparently this organization bought out the entire hotel. So there was no family staying with them in the hotel. I think the issue was the items that were outside of the hotel that anybody could see. And having hosted, I've not hosted bondage events or swinger events. We have hosted furry events at a couple of my hotels. And it's a matter, again, I think it's a matter of what is visible to the public and what needs to be kind of kept behind closed doors, if you will.
Interesting, Ron. So,
I will tell you the level of detail that went into the contracts for these events it was pretty intense. Down to the point of where we made sure that we made sure that attendees understood, for example, no sex in the public stairwells. Not to be had. Clothing on in all public areas of the hotel. Appropriate behavior around the public.
But is this considered discrimination? Because normally you encourage hotel guests to have sex in the stairwells. It's kind of like your group's kind of thing. To sit there and be like, no, listen, we understand hotel room sex is boring. So come down to the pool, have all the sex on the chairs you want. Whirlpool. We like to keep the water at a tepid 104 degrees. Please come in. Ejaculate all over that whirlpool. We're not going to clean it out all week for this convention. Now, when you say to the furries, however, you're not allowed to have sex in the stairwells, is that not considered discriminatory behavior by your hotel firm?
We don't allow people to have sex in the stairwells or the pool or the whirlpool, sauna, fitness center, restaurant, coffee shop.
I love it. I love it.
No public sex.
I love it when we bring out corporate Ron. When corporate Ron kicks in, you are all about like fun and games, and then suddenly we start talking about the hotel industry, and corporate Ron makes his Corporate Ron did buy LTNC stock. Corporate Ron comes in and he immediately starts talking about how we're going to restrict some bad behavior by these people.
Well, it's
Disappointed.
not a case.
Honestly, I'm disappointed in you.
It's not a case of restricting behavior. It's a case of understanding that, sometimes you have to have a level of discretion. I once went to work at a hotel where about 3 months prior to me going to work there was an issue because they had booked a swingers party in a meeting room right next to a party that was hosting a Sweet 16. Did not go over well with the family of the Sweet 16. And again, had it been handled a little bit more delicately, maybe it would not have been an issue.
That's understandable, I would say.
Yeah, you would think so.
I would say so. I would.
Let's see. I think we have time for one more story. Again, going to New Jersey. New Jersey's been very popular this episode.
Very good to us. Very good to us.
So this is East Brunswick, New Jersey, I believe. Let me pull up the name of the school just to be sure. Yeah, so this
half an hour due west of West New York, by the way.
So this is East Brunswick High School. Their yearbook came out this year, and New Jersey's Jewish community is demanding answers after there was a blank space where the Jewish Student Union members' names should have gone, and instead of the club's group picture, there was one of Muslim students. Town Mayor Brad Cohen said the incident was unacceptable and called on the district to find out how it happened. A member of the Jewish Student Union, who asked not to be named, told the Post she and her fellow seniors were overjoyed to receive their copies of the yearbook, only to find themselves erased. East Brunswick Superintendent of Schools, Victor Valesky, said the district is investigating the error and working with the publishers to correct the yearbook.
All right.
I remember when a yearbook was an important thing in life.
Sure.
Getting that, having your friends sign it, saving certain pages for special individuals.
You think?
Hitting people across the head with it. I remember you committed a hate crime with your Albany College yearbook that one year.
That is not true, and you know this.
I just felt you beat up someone that you felt deserved it. I felt the color of their skin and or their religion had no bearing in it. I think you were railroaded in that case, personally.
That is disgusting. You know that is not true.
Personally, just saying that.
You know that is not true.
All right, fair
enough. Take that back. Take that back right now.
I can't take it back.
Liar.
So what else? Anything else this week, Brian? I mean, I think we've covered a lot. We've said a lot. And yet at the same time,
let me just go right down the Google Docs, see if there's anything missing. We didn't get to the, maybe we save this for next week. One of my favorite stories this week, it didn't really, was the Kansas teen that was less paralyzed after she is shot as retribution for her father killing. I can't even tell the story right. So about 10 years ago, this cop kills this guy's son. He lets 10 years go by.
Oh, yeah.
And then he shows up, and on her prom night, the father of the original shot boy shows up and shoots the police officer. He shoots the daughter. He shoots the cop. I don't remember which, but it was such a great story I read, and I forgot where I put the link to it. But if we can find that later on, that would be dope.
All right. I will say, I don't want to get into a whole what are you watching, but have you seen the preview for the movie Under Paris on Netflix?
No.
So it is a French film. It is dubbed for American audiences. And it asks the question, Brian, what if there was a large killing shark in the Seine River, also floating through the catacombs of Paris?
No, that sounds terrible.
It is Sharknado level bad.
That sounds absolutely terrible. Stop.
And the ending, I don't want to give away the ending. because it's one of those movies that you watch and you're about an hour in and you're like, this is a horrible movie. But now I'm invested and I have to see what happens to this shark. And you know what? Fuck it. Spoiler alert. Just jump ahead a couple minutes. The Sharks win in the end, Brian. All I will tell you, the end of the movie, it ends with all the streets of Paris flooded and riddled with a new breed of killer shark.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Tell me you're not going to watch that.
I already watched it. That's why I'm telling you about it.
Oh my God. Why would you waste your time on that?
Because my wife
you asked me if I had seen the trailer for it.
My wife turned it on the other night. She wanted to watch a movie. She was like, how about this? I'm like, yeah, whatever, put it on. And so I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm just like, this has to get better. And it did not. And at that point, I'm like, well, now I just need to know how this ends. And even after it ended, I'm like, I can't get that hour and 45 minutes back.
No,
I will tell you what,
you can't.
I would watch Rocky Horror Picture Show again before I'd watch Under Paris again.
That takes a
that
lot.
was, boy, that nearly broke up some friendships and some marriages this morning.
I've never actually seen it. I've never actually seen that.
I thought it was horrible. Horrible movie.
I think it looks so horrible. I have never gone about watching it.
It's one of those things. Like there are certain movies that I've watched that I have not enjoyed that people think are great, and I can see where I'm like, all right, wasn't my type movie, but I at least understand why people would have liked it. Not one of those films. It's one of those films where I watched it and I'm just like, I don't know how this connects with people on any way, shape, or form.
Yes, I agree with that. That just sounds terrible.
Not worth the money, as opposed to our Patreon, which is absolutely worth the money.
Segue, you're so
thank
good.
you.
So good at this. You're so good at this.
If you have not yet gone to ronandbryantpodcast.com, you should become a subscriber. It starts at just $5. At the $10 level, you get live access to the After Dark episode that we will be filming just 23 scant minutes after this. You know what? I think you talked about not being able to stay in the host hotel for the Great Chefs event this past year, Brian. I think I'm going to put out an edict that next year for the Great Chefs event, only Patreon subscribers can stay in the host hotel. If you are not a Patreon subscriber, you will have to stay in one of the secondary hotels during the Great Chefs event.
I hope you heard that, Jardies. I hope you heard that. The gauntlet has been laid out in front of you. You now must sign up for the Patreon.
All right. Well, what do we have? Do we have a sneak peek? What are we talking about on the Patreon tonight, Brian? What are some of the stories we have teed up for tonight?
We have got the New York City sex trend of the year. Every year during summer, New York City has a new sex trend. We will be declaring this year's sex trend. We have a Trump ally, Nigel Farage. He has an interaction with an OnlyFans model that you'll only hear about if you sign up for Patreon or join us in a few. There is a new sexually transmitted disease flooding New York City. And we also have the woman with the most obvious BBL going after her Disney goers for body shaming her.
Oh, can't get enough. Can't get enough. Billy is correct in saying that the moderator, not a Patreon member, but she will be turning 40 next weekend. We have yet another big weekend upcoming as we celebrate our moderator's 40th birthday. So,
moderator only turns 40 once.
Keep her in your thoughts and prayers, everybody. All right, Brian. Anything else before we wrap up here tonight and get ready for our After Dark?
We are good. This has been a pleasure. Let's do this again next week.
Thank you for joining us for episode 307. We will be back next Sunday night for episode 308. For our Patreon members, we will see you in about 20 minutes.
Thank you for joining us on the Ron and Brian podcast. We're live each week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find prior episodes, links to our social media, and everything else Ron and Brian at ronandbrianpodcast.com. See you again next week.